Hi, welcome back. So FEIXIAO absolutely blew everyone away with how strong she is. I for one really thought that being Hunt would place her that much lower than Acheron, but actually I would say they're very fairly matched, and in some cases FEIXIAO may be even better. However, this is not what the video is about. If you do want to watch a video about FEIXIAO versus Acheron, then head over to my friend JXKeys' channel, where he's going to make a video about just that. So you should subscribe to him and wait for that. In this video I'm going to specifically talk about Topaz's pull value now that FEIXIAO is out. She has many supports she can work with the best one aside from Robin arguably being Topaz, then March 7th Hunt and Moze being similar, and a few others like Clara and Yunli being a little more niche. So, which one of these supports is the best for FEIXIAO, and if you're strapped for Jades, should you really pull Topaz at all? Find all that out by watching till the end, where I'll also include a list of the best FEIXIAO teams ranked from worst to best. Before we start, you should like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the Expressway and Discord server for a community filled with content like this. By the way, only 6.3% of everyone watching is subscribed. It used to be 7.2%. You guys are slacking. Do your part and click that button right now. Now let's get onto it. So Clara and Yunli are very niche here, so I'm not really going to talk about them too much. The option is definitely there and could be in a cool multi-DPS situation, but they don't really provide any real buffs to FEIXIAO herself, unlike March, Topaz, and Moze. So they're not really a part of this discussion, and it goes without saying that if you want the biggest upgrade for your FEIXIAO team, try and get Robin if you don't have her. Good luck. As always, 5 stars are already 0 and 4 stars are already 6, though it will definitely be a lot more nuanced here because I don't expect many players to have E6 Moze right off the bat. First, we should look at what each of these 3 kits provides for FEIXIAO in terms of buffs or enemy debuffs, then which one of these characters does the most follow-up attacks, then finally which one of them does the most damage alongside FEIXIAO. First up, Topaz. We're just gonna do an incredibly quick overview of everyone, by the way. Topaz does an America with her basic attack, which is pretty basic, but with her first major trace it actually counts as a follow-up attack. Alongside eating a pig, her skill applies proof of death on an enemy, which increases follow-up attack damage taken by them by 50%. Her ultimate upgrades Numbi to become a pignado, and also advances Numbi's action forward by 50% when an enemy with proof of death is hit by an ally. Her talent, of course, is Numbi itself. The only additional thing here is that when an enemy is targeted by the IRS is hit with a follow-up attack, Numbi's action is advanced forward by 50%. Her first major trace, as we said, turns her basic attack into a follow-up attack. Her second major trace increases the damage she deals to enemies with fire weakness, and her third major trace is a little extra energy when Numbi is on X Games mode. Now, even though 5 stars are already 0, since Topaz is a rerun character, some people may be thinking about getting her E1, which simply increases fall crit damage taken by enemies by 25%, stacking up to 2 times, for a max of 50% extra crit damage. So, aside from Topaz's personal damage, she allows FEIXIAO to deal 50% extra follow-up damage, which of course translates into her burst, since that counts as a follow-up attack too. At E1, the crit damage of those follow-up attacks is also increased by 50%. With that in mind, let's move on to Moze. Now, the most complicated part about this edgy man is his talent. His basic attack is basic. When using his skill, he gains 9 stacks of charge, applies prey on the target enemy, and goes poof. Whenever an ally attacks the prey enemy, Moze consumes 1 stack of charge, with every 3 stacks consumed launching a follow-up attack. After all stacks of charge are out, he comes back to the battlefield where you can use his skill again. His ultimate deals damage but then also launches an extra follow-up attack. Additionally, while Moze is not on the battlefield, allies deal an extra instance of lightning damage to enemies. His first major trace gives an extra skill point once per turn, so basically makes it easier to keep skill points to activate his skill over and over again and not lose out on any uptime. His second major trace advances his action forward after coming back to the battlefield and at the start of every wave, making it easier to start dealing his follow-up attacks. His third major trace makes his ultimate count as a follow-up attack and also increases follow-up attack damage taken by enemies with the prey effect by 25%. His E1 gives him better energy, his E2 increases his own crit damage by 40%, his E4 increases his damage after using his ult by 30% for 2 turns, and his E6 increases FUA damage by 25%. So the direct buffs he gives to FEIXIAO are just 25% follow-up attack damage to enemies with prey. The way his E2 is worded makes it seem like allies may gain the 40% crit damage, but I do not think that's the case. I think it's just him. If it is, correct me down below, please. So far, Topaz seems to be a pretty good upgrade over Moze, from 25% extra FUA damage to 50% extra. Not to mention she possibly does more follow-up attacks overall, and also has better scaling since she's a 5-star, but Moze is still absolutely a busted 4-star unit. He's pretty good. But let's move on to March 7th right now. Now she's a free E6 4-star, so there's no idle on shenanigans here, you just have all of them free. Let's start with her kit. Her basic attack is adorable, but basic. Her skill is also adorable, presenting Boba Tea to one ally and making them her master, which increases their speed by 12% and based on their path either deals additional damage when March uses her basic attack or enhanced basic attack, or it increases the toughness reduction of her basic attacks by 100%. With her talent, every time March's master attacks, she gains a stack of charge, and when she reaches 7, she can do an enhanced basic attack for a ton of damage. Charge is capped at 10 stacks. Her enhanced basic attack initially deals 3 hits, but can actually deal an extra 3 hits based on RNG. With her ultimate, you can guarantee an extra 2 hits and then increase the chance for additional damage by 20%. Her first major trace advances her action forward at the start of the battle. Her second major trace allows her to deal toughness damage based on her master's type, so if the enemy is weak to wind but not imaginary, if March's master is a wind type, then she can deal toughness reduction to that enemy. Her third major trace, the big one, increases master's crit damage by 60% and break effect by 36% for 2 turns after dealing the enhanced basic attack, and it's actually pretty easy to have it at 100% uptime with FEIXIAO. Her E1 increases her speed by 10% when master is present. Her E2 allows her to deal a follow-up attack when her master attacks, also contributing to her charge stacks. Her E4 gives her a little extra energy, and her E6 increases her next enhanced basic attack's crit damage by 50% after using her ultimate. One of the best things about March and this team as well is that her buff isn't target specific. Moze and Topaz's buffs only work when FEIXIAO is attacking the enemy with their prey or proof of death debuffs, while March's buff is on FEIXIAO herself, meaning whichever enemy you attack, you're going to have that increased damage output. This also means that March can attack secondary smaller enemies while FEIXIAO attacks the bigger elite enemies. So to recap, Topaz increases FUA damage taken by enemies with proof of death by 50%, Moze increases FUA damage taken by enemies with prey by 25%, March increases her master speed by 12%, and then crit damage by 60% and break effect by 36% after using her ultimate. Topaz definitely deals the most personal damage out of all of these characters, with Moze and March's personal damage being pretty damn comparable. Topaz provides the biggest damage boost, but since March provides a crit damage boost rather than an FUA damage boost, for those that don't have Robin, it's pretty damn viable to use March 7th, and one of these characters without having to worry about diminishing returns. So if you have Topaz, Moze, and March, then I would use Topaz and March over Topaz and Moze for 2 reasons. One is that most of you aren't going to have E6 Moze, so you're going to lose out on at least some of his personal damage, and then second is to prevent any sort of diminishing returns when it comes to stacking different buffs or debuffs. Let's take a look at some other team scenarios based on what different characters you have. If you don't have Topaz at all, then using March and Moze together for FEIXIAO is totally viable. However, if you're using that team, then you probably also don't have Robin. In that case, I would pull for Robin over everyone else. If you have Robin but no Topaz, then I would use Moze and that team over March only if you have E6 Moze. With E6, he has a slight edge over March, but if you're at like E4 or E2, I would use March over him. Saying that brings me lots of pain, but it is what it is. In this situation, I would also look at your sustain unit. If you don't have Aventuring, then pulling for Linksha can be a pretty good option. She does a lot of follow-up attacks, but definitely not as many as Aventuring. Also, there are some rumors of a summon meta where Linksha can prove useful, but we'll have to see in the future. If you do have Aventuring, then I would definitely pull for Topaz to really min-max your FEIXIAO team. However, I do consider getting Topaz in this situation to be a mostly luxury pull, since Moze and March 7th both already do everything you need them to. FEIXIAO is very OP with or without Topaz. In this situation, I would really compare her to Jiao Qiu in an Acheron team. In the background gameplay, which is courtesy of the good old Mr. Keys by the way, E6 Moze cleared 1 cycle slower than Topaz and E6 March cleared 2 cycles slower than Topaz. If you need to save your Stellar Jades for any future characters, I would not pull for Topaz, and stick with March or Moze if you have him at E6. So that's it. Here's a list of the best FEIXIAO teams for anyone curious or anyone with short attention spans. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and join the ExpressRun Discord server for a community filled with content like this, and I will see you next time.